Welcome to today's video, where we take a close look at the Australian 2-cent coin from 1974, a humble yet historically important piece of decimal currency that has become a cherished collectible. The 1974 2-cent coin represents a period when Australia's decimal currency system was still relatively new, having been introduced in 1966. By this time, Australians had fully adapted to the change, and the 2-cent piece was part of daily life. Holding a circulated example of this coin instantly connects you to that era. The wear and patina tell the story of a coin that was used by countless Australians for everyday purchases. On the reverse, we see the famous frilled neck lizard, a bold and uniquely Australian choice for this denomination. Designed by Stuart Devlin, the lizard coils elegantly across the surface of the coin. Even in circulated condition, the design remains recognizable and powerful. The lizard scales and frill may not be as sharp as they once were, but the overall impression of movement and strength is still there. The obverse features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Arnold Machin, which was introduced in 1966 and used on Australian coins through much of the 1970s. Her youthful profile is depicted with a tiara, a familiar image across the Commonwealth. Circulation wear often softens the details of her hair and crown, but the portrait remains a dignified symbol of continuity and tradition. The reddish-brown color of the bronze alloy gives the coin its distinctive warm tone. Over time, circulation creates variations, from deep chocolate hues to lighter, smoother surfaces. These natural color changes add character to each circulated coin, making every 1974 2-cent piece slightly different and unique. At the time of its issue, 2 cents had real purchasing power. It could buy small items like sweets, payphones, or contribute to bus fares. Because of its usefulness, the coin circulated widely, meaning that most surviving examples today show signs of wear. For collectors, this wear does not diminish its value. In fact, circulated coins often feel more connected to history than uncirculated ones, as they represent the coin's journey through real life. The 1974 2-cent coin also reflects Australia's pride in showcasing native wildlife. By placing the frilled neck lizard on the coin, designers highlighted an animal that fascinated people for its dramatic defensive display. This choice of design ensured that every Australian carried a reminder of the country's rich biodiversity in their pocket. The coin's size and weight gave it a sense of presence. Larger than many other denominations, the 2-cent piece was easily recognized by touch alone. Circulated coins from 1974 often display smooth edges and softened designs, yet they remain sturdy and reliable reminders of the past. Their endurance speaks to the durability of the bronze alloy and the quality of minting at the Royal Australian Mint. While the denomination was eventually withdrawn from circulation in 1992, the coins remain popular with collectors who appreciate their artistry and history. The 1974 issue is not considered rare, but its historical context and distinctive design make it a valued addition to any collection. Each circulated coin tells a personal story. It might have passed through hundreds of hands, been used in countless shops, and carried in purses, wallets, or jars in homes across the country. This connection to ordinary life is what makes coins like the 1974 2 cents so compelling. They are artifacts of everyday history, not just monetary tools. The frilled neck lizard design is widely regarded as one of Stuart Devlin's most iconic contributions to Australian currency. Its bold, coiled posture gives the coin character and energy. Even after decades of circulation, the design continues to stand out, a testament to Devlin's artistry and vision. The Queen's portrait on the obverse reinforces the coin's role as both national and Commonwealth currency, linking Australia's identity with its ties to tradition. For collectors, circulated coins offer a chance to hold history in its most authentic form. They are coins that lived in the world, not locked away in pristine condition. The 1974 2-cent piece is an excellent example of how everyday coins become treasured keepsakes, reminding us of a time, a place, and a way of life. Though small in value, the coin carries immense cultural and sentimental worth, both in Australia and among collectors worldwide. As we reflect on its story, the 1974 Australian 2-cent coin reminds us that history is often found in the smallest and simplest objects, carried quietly through time. And that is why this coin, even in circulated condition, remains a timeless piece of Australian heritage, continuing to inspire admiration and respect today. The 1974 2-cent coin may not have been glamorous in its time, but today it represents a nostalgic piece of everyday Australian life. It is fascinating to imagine the coin being exchanged across small country towns, bustling city streets, or coastal shops, quietly passing from hand to hand without thought of its future significance. The circulated condition of this coin is what makes it truly special for collectors. It shows that the coin fulfilled its purpose, actively participating in the daily rhythm of Australia's economy. The edges may be softened, the luster long gone, and the fine details worn, yet those signs of use give the coin authenticity and soul. The frilled neck lizard design was inspired by Australia's natural uniqueness. Its dramatic display, with the frill flared open, is one of the most iconic behaviors in the animal kingdom. By choosing this creature, Devlin ensured that even the smallest denominations of coinage carried a sense of drama, energy, and character. The 1974 coin allows us to see how art and functionality can merge. It was not only a piece of currency but also a miniature piece of sculpture in metal. The reverse design, even when dulled by circulation, continues to be instantly recognizable. This shows the strength of Devlin's work as a coin designer. When comparing circulated examples, collectors often notice subtle differences. Some have darker tones, some smoother surfaces, and some still retain patches of shine. This variety makes collecting circulated 1974 coins exciting, as no two are exactly alike. Each coin offers its own version of history. The obverse with Queen Elizabeth II is equally meaningful. In 1974, she was still in the early decades of her reign, and her portrait was a familiar sight across the Commonwealth. The Machin portrait, with its elegant simplicity, captured the dignity of the monarch in a way that translated beautifully onto coins. Even with wear, the Queen's profile remains strong, reminding us of the continuity of her reign during an era of great change in Australia. The 2-cent denomination itself was an important part of daily life in the 1970s. It had buying power and was essential for small purchases, making it heavily used. This heavy use explains why circulated examples today are so common and often well worn. They lived active lives in the pockets and purses of Australians. Collectors value these coins not for rarity but for connection. They are tangible reminders of the daily transactions that shaped ordinary life. The 1974 issue, being part of the early years of decimal currency, is especially significant. It represents Australia's modern identity at a formative stage. For younger Australians today, the 2-cent coin is something of a relic. Since the denomination was withdrawn in 1992, many have never used one in circulation. This gives the 1974 coin an added nostalgic charm, as it comes from a time when everyday currency looked and felt very different. The reddish tones of the bronze alloy are part of its appeal. Over decades, the color deepens, giving circulated coins a warm, almost antique appearance. Some coins pick up subtle rainbow-like patinas, especially if exposed to certain environments. These natural changes make circulated coins visually fascinating. For historians, the coin is a piece of material culture. It shows how Australians interacted with money, what values they placed on small denominations, and how design reflected identity. For collectors, it is part of a broader story. The 1974 issue is one chapter in the history of the 2-cent coin, which ran from 1966 to its withdrawal in the early 1990s. The frilled neck lizard remains one of the most beloved designs in Australian coinage history. Its boldness ensured that the 2-cent coin stood out despite its low value. It's remarkable that such a small coin could carry such a powerful and memorable image, one that still resonates decades later. The coin also reveals the craftsmanship of the Royal Australian Mint. Even circulated examples retain enough detail to admire the artistry behind them. Holding one today is like holding a piece of art that was shared among millions, not locked away but living in the real world. Each circulated 1974 coin is, in essence, a survivor. It has lasted through decades of economic change, yet still exists as a reminder of that earlier time. The sheer number of hands that may have touched it is staggering. It was part of daily life for countless Australians before quietly fading from circulation. This journey gives it a personality. It is not pristine, but it is authentic, carrying the invisible fingerprints of the past. For educators and storytellers, coins like this are powerful tools. They make history tangible, something you can hold, see, and feel. The 1974 2-cent coin in circulated condition is also a great conversation starter, sparking memories and stories from older Australians who used them every day. Even though it was worth so little, it now carries immense sentimental value. It symbolizes a time when coins were heavier, larger, and more prominent in everyday life. In circulated condition, it may no longer look perfect, but it looks real. It looks like history. That is what makes it so appealing. The coin continues to find a place in collections, albums, and displays, cherished not for rarity but for meaning. And that is the enduring power of the 1974 Australian 2-cent coin. It proves that even the smallest denomination can leave a lasting legacy. When we first glance at this coin, its reddish-brown hue immediately stands out, a reminder of the bronze composition that defined Australia's smaller denominations for decades. The coin's patina tells us about its age and history. Some pieces from 1974 appear dark and muted, while others shine with warm highlights from years of handling. This particular circulated condition makes it relatable. Unlike pristine collector's pieces, this one lived a full life in the hands of ordinary Australians. The design of the frilled neck lizard remains its most captivating feature. Even when softened with wear, the creature's swirling body seems full of motion. It captures a moment of nature frozen in time, an emblem of Australia's unique wildlife presented for everyday appreciation. The lizard's flared frill, once sharp in detail, may be faint now, but it still conveys the animal's dramatic defensive posture. This choice of design was no accident. The Royal Australian Mint wanted the coinage to reflect the nation's natural character and identity. The 2-cent coin achieved this beautifully, placing an iconic reptile in every pocket across the country. On the obverse, Queen Elizabeth II's youthful profile offers a connection to tradition and the Commonwealth. Her portrait in the 1970s reflected continuity, stability, and the enduring monarchy that was part of Australia's history. In circulated coins, the tiara and hair details often fade, yet her image remains instantly recognizable, a familiar anchor on the coin. The balance of natural imagery on one side and monarchy on the other reflects Australia's unique blend of heritage and independence. As a circulated coin, the 1974 piece likely passed through countless small exchanges, bus fares, school canteens, corner shops, and arcade machines. Each of these uses adds layers of invisible history to its worn surface. For some, handling this coin again today triggers vivid memories of childhood, when 2 cents carried real value in everyday life. It could buy sweets, contribute to a phone call, or be stacked into rolls for saving in piggy banks. The size of the coin gave it a presence that belied its small denomination. Heavier and larger than modern cents, it felt sturdy and meaningful. This physical quality is one reason why older coins remain so appealing to collectors. They carried weight in both form and symbolism. By 1974, millions of these coins circulated, yet each one followed a different path, acquiring unique marks and stories along the way. Circulation transformed them from identical mint products into individual artifacts with character. The scratches, dents, and fading of design details are not flaws. They are the fingerprints of history. Collectors often treasure these circulated examples for precisely that reason. They tell the story of use and connection. The reddish bronze also ages gracefully, developing tones that add depth and richness over time. In many ways, circulated coins like this feel more alive than uncirculated ones, because they carry the memory of real lives lived. The frilled neck lizard, though worn, still symbolizes resilience. Just as the lizard adapts to its environment, the coin adapted to decades of handling. Even now, in a collector's hand, it continues to serve a purpose, no longer as currency, but as a storyteller of history. For Australians, this coin links directly to a period of cultural change in the 1970s, when society was modernizing yet still deeply connected to tradition. The natural theme of the coin reflects pride in the country's wildlife and uniqueness on the world stage. For younger generations, it provides a glimpse into a time before the removal of the 1 and 2 cent coins in the 1990s. This gap between past and present makes the coin all the more valuable as a teaching tool. It allows stories to be passed down, from parents and grandparents who once used these coins daily. The 1974 issue is a particularly nice representation because it was struck during a time of economic growth, when coinage was plentiful and widely circulated. Collectors today may not view it as rare, but rarity is not the only measure of worth. Cultural and sentimental value are equally important. The coin demonstrates how even the smallest denomination can carry pride, artistry, and a nation's story. Its survival in circulated condition proves the durability of its bronze alloy and the strength of its design. And so the 1974 2-cent coin, though retired from circulation, continues to live on in collections, in memories, and in the enduring admiration of all who see it.